right, there we go. I debated asking you guys to do the hokey pokey and turn around, but I figured maybe that was a bit too much for a stretch. I'm also going to warn you that I'm not the best PowerPoint person on the face, so you're going to see me toggling between two, thank you, Evan. You're going to see me toggling between two different machines here. So my name is Kerry Crofie. I work for the Public Library of Science, otherwise known as PLOS. I've been there for a little over 4 years, and currently I basically look after the peer review operations for our 7 journals. The reason that I'm doing this, sorry, yes, great. So we're a nonprofit publisher. We have 7 journals, but we're also an advocacy organization with a mission to accelerate the progress in science and medicine by leading a transformation in research communication. So what does that mean? It means that we're an open publisher, and that what's important to us is ensuring that as much data and research and science is available to as many communities as possible in a reusable way. Open isn't necessarily just about access, it's also about usability. And so for us, it's important that we drive reproducibility, and the only way to have reproducible results is to make sure that data is available. There we go. So just a sense of who PLOS is, we're big. We've published just over 200,000 articles, and we operate at a pretty large scale. So many of you would have heard of PLOS's data policy, which was enacted in March of 2014. A lot of the community had questions about how we could actually pull such a feat off. I wasn't there. But we have done that, and I think that has led to a lot of the discussions that we have now about making data available and trying to ensure that it's not only available, but it's reusable. So I shouldn't have done that there. How many of you know what a data availability statement is? Excellent. When I was preparing this presentation, I thought, well, I can't really go out in front of everybody and tell them what a data availability statement is, because everybody knows what that is. And no, they don't. So effectively what a data availability statement is it's a pointer. It says the data behind this manuscript, this article, is available in a certain area. That could be either within the article, it could be at Dryad or Figshare or any of the other repositories out there. But the point is that it clearly and unambiguously tells you where you can find the data that was used for the experiment that was conducted and is being presented in that research paper. So I wanted to find a graphic that represented open data, and this is what Google Images showed me. And I thought that it would be interesting to talk, sorry, I said I'm not going to get 2 of them at the same time. I thought it'd be really good to talk about kind of what open data means. So this morning, Grace Baines from Sorare Nature shared a study that they had conducted that showed that 76% of respondents highly rate the importance of their data to be discoverable. So these are academics who have published and want their information available to the rest of the world. 76%, right? Well, PLOS's data policy, our data availability policy, requires all of our academics, all of our corresponding authors to either deposit their data or to make it available with the article itself. This isn't always possible. Obviously, there are some restrictions around clinical information, around endangered species, things of those lines, but for the most part, we do require all data to be there. But for that to be the case, again, we need some way of our academics to be able to harvest this data and find out where the data exists. So it's not sufficient just to say the data is available. We need to be able to point out exactly where it is. And that's what a DPC does for us, or sorry, a data availability statement does for us. So since 2014, PLOS has published a little over 98,000 data availability statements. And for those people who thought that data might be something which prohibits individuals from choosing to publish with us, we have less than 0.1% of people who have not published with us, who have decided to back away, citing the data availability policy as the issue. So you shouldn't be afraid of making sure that data is available. That has not been an issue, that has not been the experience that we've had at PLOS. And at submission, we ask right away, tell us where this data is going to be. You can see in the red box here, we use Editorial Manager. I know there are other systems out there that have very similar functionality. And once this information is provided to us, we actually have staff review this. The manuscript cannot be accepted unless we have a data availability statement which clearly describes where the data is or why the data is not available, and also meets with our own guidelines. Let's see. Right, oh, the other thing, just something that Mark and Dryad might be happy to hear. Since we began implementing data availability statements in 2014, roughly 20% of the papers that had a DAS actually pointed to an external repository for where they stored the data. That's gone up 10% year on year. We're up to 24% this year, which is a good thing, but maybe not quite as high as we like. We'd really prefer to see more data going to external subject-specific repositories than being in supplemental information files, which is where roughly 75%, 76% of that data exists now. Once we publish the article, it is made available again both in the XML, the PDF, and the HTML, so it's quite clear where the data can be found. In this example here, you can see that the data was available both at Zenodo via a DOI link and also the tool that they use to generate the data from this particular study. And here's the example on Zenodo where the data is made available, and you can see it actually lists that the data was used to facilitate reproducibility, again going back in line with what PLOS's mission is for ensuring reproducibility and open access. And so I thought I would finish up by just giving some further resources for those people who aren't aware of data availability. Our policy is listed there. The slides will be circulated. And I also really enjoyed Taylor and Francis's implementation of suggestions. One of the problems that we've really faced at PLOS is just confusion from authors. It's not necessarily that they don't want to share their data, they just don't know how to. And frequently it's helpful to just partner with them. We've got a great team on the PLOS One side. Much like Elizabeth was talking for their curators, we have a staff that are responsible for the data program at PLOS and who answer questions and are able to support and give some clarity to those authors who need assistance. And that's it for me. Thanks.